SUAANGAN, 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 SUAANGAN,
Welcome to SUAANGAN. My name is Stan Rubin. Tonight we attend a seminar that was held in Inuvik. This seminar was to discuss the economy of Inuvik. About 40 people attended and a wide variety of issues were discussed. Tonight we bring you portions of that seminar. On January 16, 1992, Inuvik's business community held the Inuvik Economic Strategy Session at the second floor of the Inuvik Town Hall. This meeting, chaired by Fred Cooey, was attended by Inuvik Town Councillors, the Chamber of Commerce, the Gwich'in, the Inuvialuit, and other organizations of the business community. Fred Cooey is Inuvik's member of the Legislative Assembly. I asked him if businesses should try to generate employment in Inuvik.
One of the objectives of businesses is to make money, but in Inuvik itself there is a real lack of jobs for especially Native people. And one of the initiatives that I've been working on with the Chamber, with the Native organizations, and with some businesses is how can we create more jobs? Because if people are working, they're healthy, they're happier, there's more money to spend, and all the businesses and the community benefits. So we're trying to create jobs and even then still trying to maintain existing jobs that are in town.
Concerns raised at this session included issues such as Inuvik economic opportunities, the Gwich'in and Inuvialuit opportunities, government assistance for Inuvik projects such as the new Community Center, Western Arctic Visitor Center, Arctic College programs, and a Business Development Center. I asked Dick Hill, a town councillor, why it was so important to have an economic session such as this one.
Inuvik is in tough economic times. We've got a lot of unemployed people here. Manpower says it's around 600 people looking for work. So we as Inuvik Council have a responsibility to help people, to provide employment opportunities for business development, and hence getting together. And then beyond that, it's how to improve the quality of life in Inuvik. Things we're talking about were new recreation center, good hockey facilities, curling, swimming pool, a community meeting hall improved. The present one we have has been not quite condemned, but it's accused of going to fall down soon. So we have to take action on community recreation center. Then the Western Arctic Visitor Center, something that we do have coming. How do we get more benefit to the region, to Inuvik, have tourists, more of them come, have them be happy here, and do good things, and so that and have more activities for tourists to participate in, whether it's going fishing or out in the land, whale watching, all those type of things. It's tools of the regional development. Then we have Arctic College here as a resource, and how to better use that resource. And the suggestion was that it have a local board of directors so that they can interrelate to the needs. So when a person is trained, there's a job waiting for them. And then like there's going to be a lot of parks management. The Adam Park out there, which used to be Campbell Lake, and North Yukon Park are all going to need trained park people. So Arctic College fits into doing that. Plus bring in the teacher education program, the nursing program, business management. How to actually have things like that happen, which then when you have economic things going, then there are local people that can be employed. Then the fourth item was this Business Development Center, which the proposal was to develop have an Inuvik Development Authority, type of thing that Edmonton and Vancouver have. That we would do it on our scale so that should a new industry come in or somebody have a good project, then we can do what's necessary to attract it, whether it's training people so that they can be hired, whether it's making land available through municipal ordinances, that type of thing, or whether funding is needed through one of the territorial funding arrangements, just so that there's no excuse for something not happening here. So this meeting was very good to put together all of the different groups and actors that are in a position to do something, but by various administrative structures aren't legally set up to work together. And hence the standard formation that Fred Cooey initiated was a steering committee. I'll put together all of the people who can do something and have them steer in the same direction, so that more likely you're going to have something happen.
Don Patterson, the mayor of Inuvik, had this to say on the town's situation.
I'd like to make one thing clear. The town is not broke. It's a matter of cash flow at this point in time. Taxes didn't come in 1991 as fast as they should have, and previous years' negative cash flows from the fact that the federal government didn't pay grants in lieu has, I guess, hurt the town in a way temporarily. And as we collect these, things will improve. This year we had to go to short-term borrowing to cover our operating costs because of the shortfall in cash. But that should be pretty well cleared up by about March, and we should be looking at a brighter year this year. The budget we haven't completed yet. We're still working on some things for the budget. We've had another problem this year which has slowed us down in creating a budget, and that's being able to obtain information on our great computer system. But any thought that we're broke, we're not. We did not overspend our budget this past year. We're on budget. It's just a matter of, as I said, the taxes and grants in lieu have not come in as they should have, and we're in the process of collecting now.
Inuvik's economy has changed dramatically since the oil boom in the 70s and 80s. I asked Dick Hill how different it's been without oil activity.
Well, we are a government administrative town, and with the BD report coming in to Yellowknife, we're not liable to continue as a government administrative town. We need to take action to replace that, and it's contrary to a lot of things that we're so-called Class 1 community. We don't get any goodies out of the government, or very few goodies. We need to look out for ourselves. We might disagree with that BD report and say that there is a place for regional government. Hopefully people in the surrounding communities would say that, and that we would remain with a vehicle of providing services to the communities of the area. I think we will anyway. That's our spirit, and the game is to do a better job of it.
The government has had in the budget, capital budget, about $1.5 million, and it's been in that budget for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I think. And they're at a point right now where if nothing is done with this money, that they can say they'll find other uses for it, because there's a big demand for government dollars. The present politicians agree that there is a need for an adequate facility here in Inuvik. And again, I think it comes down to what is it that Inuvik wants, what are we as Inuvikans willing to do, and how are we willing to get there. And I know there's been a lot of different action plans, different groups involved, some so far not successful, because we still have the same facility and no action plan for a new arena or a new complex. So I don't know where you want to start on this one. I leave it open, I guess, put it to the table to hear different viewpoints. What do you wish to do, Frank?
The government's grant of $1.5 million, is there any conditions attached to it? In other words, do we have to match it or anything?
Maybe Don can
Well,
respond.
what it is they have said they will provide $1.5 million, but if we're going to build a recreation center, we have to come up with the rest of the money. That's basically what they've told us before.
The recreation center, which has been in planning for a number of years, was a main concern. The jobs it would generate was of importance to all that attended. Here's Fred Cooey.
The actual construction will. In discussions at this meeting today, the economic meeting, we talk about having a whole design, construction, operation of a new complex done by local people. Once it's built, then the benefits will be to the local residents. They have a good facility that can be used, and also a facility that can host regional or territorial events. Right now, the present recreational arena and curling rink is not very functional and very hard to attract people from other places to come here.
Any other projects that would benefit Inuvik?
Well, the one that I've been working on is a visitor center for tourism. There is a need to have a focal point for tourists. Information center, interpretation center. I've also been trying to, in conjunction with this, develop a museum and have all the Native organizations involved. That when tourists come to town, they have somewhere to go. All the people that are involved in tourism are there, and they have only one place, and they can get a good focus of what's happening in the region, get information, maybe see some cultural events put on by local Native people. All these things tie together. So,
What are you most concerned about with the economics of Inuvik?
well, there's Inuvik has been suffering through a downturn ever since the oil industry has quit spending the money that they have traditionally. We have seen a real lack of initiatives in terms of business initiatives in town. A lot of companies have shut down for the winter or moved out. No construction, very little jobs in town. And we're trying to look at new ways, new initiatives of creating jobs, how to create new manufacturing, small businesses, whatever we can to generate activity in town. I remember the $1.5 million, and I don't know the exact date. I've heard rumor or anything from it's been there for 4 years or 6 years. It's one of those, maybe 5 years. So, how things, inflation and how money tends to always want to grow as projects, cost of living, cost of goods, cost of services increase. $1.5 million was asked for way back,
Yes.
initially. My feeling is that, and I asked somebody in Yellowknife why was only $1.5 million set aside. And the response I got, because that was what was asked for. So right away, my mind says, well, what if we asked for $5 million? And what kind of response would we get? So I just throw that out. Again, that's the feedback I got. I've been doing a lot of other research, obviously, on the history of what's been going on, and basically wish to focus on tomorrow. What are we going to do from today till when we can get something built, rather than rehash historical events and what went on. I think there's still a willingness from people I talk to in town. There's still a willingness to have something. The unknowns, I guess, is how much and how we're going to continue to operate and the operations and maintenance of a big complex.
The turnaround in Inuvik's economy will not be overnight. It takes hard work and lobbying to see that businesses and the government try to create jobs. This question of when can we see a definite change in Inuvik's economy was put to Dick Hill.
That's a tough one, in that it's not my brains or my money that's, so I can't say. You've got two things: a new legislative assembly down in Yellowknife with Fred Cooey down there and several other new people who want to do a better job, not necessarily do things the way they were done before. You've got 3 new councillors on the Inuvik Council, just elected in August, and we started off in September. We 3, and hopefully the other 5 members of council, also have that spirit of let's do a better job. Let's not just spend money, let's spend money wisely. And as Councillor Eddie Lavoie, one of our new councillors, said, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. So a vehicle like this meeting hopefully gives us more tables to negotiate at, and then also gives the negotiators more confidence in actually going for something that's productive for Inuvik residents.
Here's MLA Fred Cooey about the future of Inuvik.
Well, Inuvik's a fairly large town in terms of, comparison to other communities in the north. At one time it used to be the 2nd largest community in the Northwest Territories and used to be the busiest because of the oil patch. Today it's not so busy, but it's a regional government center. Federal government and territorial government have a lot of their offices. We have a big hospital, we have the hostel and a high school here. So it's very important to have Inuvik as a thriving community so that services are provided to regional towns. Just outside on our doorstep you have McPherson and Klavik Tuk, all with about 1,000 people each, and they in turn spend a lot of money here. So it's important that Inuvik has a base that can provide services to the population in the region.
I asked Fred Cooey what he was hoping would develop out of this seminar.
Well, I was trying to get people in the community together to meet, to talk, to discuss common initiatives, and we had a good showing today. There was over 40 people that came out, which shows that they are interested. We developed some certain objectives and certain initiatives. We have steering committees now to look at the recreation center. We have a steering committee to look at the visitor center. We have a economic authority set up to look at small business development in town. So these are initiatives that weren't there, say, 2 weeks ago, and they're there today because people are here and meeting and talking and willing to do something.
Here's a comment from Doug Doan. He's the Regional Superintendent of the Department of Economic Development and Tourism in Inuvik. I asked him what it would take for someone to go into business.
Going into business is not a real easy process for anyone to go through anywhere, but it doesn't have to be all that difficult either. If someone is truly committed to the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, basically they have to go through a planning process, and in doing that they have to examine such things as the kind of product or service that they're going to sell, who they're going to sell it to, that is the market they're going to sell it to. They have to look at the costs, capital costs of the equipment or assets used to establish the business. There's just a myriad of information that has to be sort of pulled together and consolidated. The good news is that for people that are fortunate enough to live in a community where there is an economic development officer, basically they should probably, their first step should be to contact the economic development officer, because he can lead them through this process. He can help them get quotations for equipment, develop projections and cash flows, do market studies, and in fact he can help them put together an entire business plan that they can use to resource the funding necessary to start the business. So It is a process that does take some time. There's a fair bit of homework that has to be done, but we do try to help people through the process, and we'll try and make it as painless and fast as possible.
Here's Fred Cooey and Dick Hill on how they thought the seminar turned out.
No, I'm very pleased with how the meeting went. I'm very pleased and upbeat on, the support I'm getting on the initiatives that we're working on. So there's a bright future there, and I feel really good.
Well, I'm pretty happy. I believe in having groups working together to do something. And the proposal was for an Inuvik Economic Development Authority to come out of it, which would have a town council rep, a chamber of commerce rep, a Gwich'in rep, and an Inuvialuit rep. So from those different groups who are interested in economic development, that they form a 4-member committee and let nothing stop them from doing what should be accomplished. To a certain extent, did have already got it under Vince Sharp with the Western Arctic Visitors Center. Then the proposal was for Arctic College to have a comparable steering committee or local board, that we just haven't been well serviced by a central board covering the whole Northwest Territories. It just hasn't worked. We've had many courses offered without participants, and then many participants who haven't had courses to take. It's a situation to communicate. The communication is 90% of any problem. And problems are opportunities waiting to be solved. So we've kind of set the stage for doing a lot more. And no question, we probably won't, we're optimistic, and whether we deserve it, you come back in a year and give us a review. Hopefully we'll have a lot to report.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Ta-da, ta-da.
We would like to thank all participants at the seminar, and we hope that by having that session will bring about change in Inuvik's economy. We'll leave you with these scenes of drum dancing in Tuktoyaktuk's Kitti Hall.
Yeah.